Hey everybody, welcome to video training number 2, and I'm excited to share with you. Now we're getting into the meat of things, okay? And in this video we're really going to get into how do credit reports work and what really matters on a credit report, because there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't matter. For example, if you go to creditkarma.com or Free Annual Report or Quizzle or some form of Credit Karma, you're going to get about a 50 to 75 page document, of which 85% of it is going to be garbage information, wasted paper, which really just kind of gets me, and marketing information, looking to cross-sell you something other than what you really came there for. And so I'm not interested in any of that. I'm interested in getting into the meat. I want the steak, not the fat. So let's get into this. How do you begin to understand the items on a credit report? So I have a number of clients' credit reports here to take a look at and review with you. Now, if you have a copy of your credit report, wonderful. And if you've received one from me, or if you've received one from your loan officer, please email me here just to make sure. So you can stop the video, email me, we'll get you a copy of a credit report, we'll send it back to you, then pick up and watch the video moving forward. And if you do have a copy of your credit report, I want to get into a typical trade line account. So what's a trade line? A trade line is an item on your credit report. If you've seen any of the other videos or you've been to any of my live talks, you'll see on the large screens we'll have a projector that shows a credit report that shows a trade line. So for example, Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is a creditor, and it would show up as a trade line on your credit report. So it'll show up as, for example, how about Wells Fargo Card Services? That's Wells Fargo if you had a credit card. Wells Fargo Card Services. Usually those are 16 digits on your credit report. It may show up as 16. In all likelihood, it will show up as 12 digits for security, meaning that there'll be fewer numbers being reported to the Bureau. Usually those will be the first 12 numbers and then a series of 4 X's to show that this account does in fact belong to you. There will be information on it, such as what's the loan term? Well, it's not really a loan, but it's a credit card, and credit, for all intents and purposes, creditors will call it a loan, and it'll show up as the word credit card. So Wells Fargo Card Services. It'll show in the first column, the first column to the right of the creditor name. It'll show date reported. It'll show date reported. You can see that right in here, and maybe we'll discuss that certainly on the live calls. When we have a live call, I'll project this on the screen. It'll show date reported, means when was the last activity date. It'll show the date of last activity. Date of last activity, the DLA. That's an important piece of data, because the date reported can also times vary. It can vary between the date reported, maybe it was sometime 2010, but the date of last activity. Date of last activity is a critical factor, and we'll tie that into the videos as we move forward. The opening date, that's important. Your creditors love old credit. So if you have items on your credit report in the calendar year, new credit from the calendar year of this year that we're in, your scores may be lower than they could be. But if you had credit from the years past, or somebody listed you as an authorized user on their credit card, or you have an old credit card from, say, from 1980, you'll have far more stronger, I should say, a stronger foundation in which to build from, because you'll have old credit. The FICO scoring model loves old credit. You'll also have the high credit limit and the current credit limit, which can also vary. The high credit limit is the maximum high limit that you could borrow up to, and the credit limit is the amount that you've actually borrowed up to. It'll show the balance owing. How much do you currently owe on your account? Now that can vary. If you make a payment on Monday, it's not going to show up as Monday. Like if you have a $1,000 balance with Wells Fargo Card Services, and you make a $1,000 payment, it's not going to show up today or tomorrow with a zero balance. It may show up a week or two from now, depending upon when the creditor reports. That's important to know. The term. Okay, the term. Terms usually are associated with mortgages, not credit cards. But in this case, it deals with the monthly payment. So in this case, this person has a $243 monthly payment on a revolving credit card line. It'll show the current status. The current status. Current status ranges from 01, which is current, to 09, which is collection, and all the variation of colors and shades of interpretations from there. And then we'll show the months revolving. How many months has this account been open? Well, it's been open, in this case, this Wells Fargo Card Services account has been open for 82 months. So it's about 7 years, right? Almost. And then it'll show any 30-day lates, 60-day lates, 90-day lates, and in some cases, it'll also show a past due balance. If the account is past due, it'll show how much the past due balance is and how many times they've been past due. So underneath the times past due section, it'll show the numbers 30, 60, and 90. And underneath those little areas, it'll show a number. Usually, hopefully, it's 0, 0, 0, 0, meaning no 30-day lates, no 60-day lates, and no 90-day lates. And these are really important piece of information because you can see if all creditors have listed this piece of credit information on the credit report and it's a positive trade line, you want that on your credit report. If it's a negative trade line, makes sense, you don't want it on your credit report. You want to get it off your report as swiftly as possible. So how to really read your credit report is by going through each individual box section, each individual section of that report and determining where you're at, line by line by line. And when you really understand the line by line by line mentality, you can be highly effective in working with these distressed and motivated sellers, but because you can drive down the price of the acquisition of these properties by saying, we'll take care of your credit for you. Your credit's got some complex things going on with it. Let's take a look at this together and work on this. Instead of focusing on the real estate, which you'll end up with as well, focus on the individual. And lastly, what's not on your report? Well, things that are not on your report, we shared in the first video, oftentimes you'll see a brief snapshot of some assets, but you'll get mostly liabilities and obligations and responsibilities. What it won't show is how many buildings you own, if you own them free and clear. What it won't do is show your true assets. It doesn't show any art or any diamonds or any vehicles, right? Vehicles are not on your credit report unless they have a loan against them. It won't show if you and your business partner have other assets, because that would be a business credit report. Sometimes business credit information shows up on your personal information, and that may be a problem for you, and that certainly could be something that could be worked out. So these are the very elements of a credit report, and in the next video we're going to really get into it, okay? We're going to be into all about applying it to your own individual report. We're going to do a comprehensive review of your credit report. In the next video, what's this tri-merge? How do I get this tri-merge? And how does it differ from the free report, which we'll get into? And we'll really do a full and complete analysis. So look forward to this next video, number 3, in a couple of days. In the meantime, thanks so much. And this is Corey with Fix My Report. And let's get into getting your credit scores up and helping you close those transactions with these distressed, motivated sellers. Okay, bye-bye.